Hey guys. This is a so I'm talking to my buddy Chris, and he says to me, "Hey, can you explain something to me? I keep seeing the trolls are saying that since Russia struck Dnipro with the Oreshnik, ooh, the Oreshnik that we're all so afraid of, ooh, and they probably don't even fucking have because if they had them, they would use them. God knows they have no restraint. Please." So as soon as they can put one together, I'm sure we're in danger. But until that time, we can laugh our asses off about it. Now, look, Chris says to me he sees the trolls constantly saying that there have been no strikes inside of Russia with Western weapons since Oreshnik. Right, the West's knees are knocking. We're all afraid now. Now, look, so this led me because I thought about it and I'm like, well, wait a minute. When I got back from Dnipro, because I was there just 2 days after the Oreshnik hit, right? When I got back from Dnipro, that very next week, I reported on an S-400 in Kursk getting hit with ATACMS. We reported on the HQ getting hit with storm shadows. We talked about the ATACMS strike on the pontoon bridge over the River Seine, right, all in Russian territory. So there was that first wave of attacks after Dnipro. And I thought, well, wait a minute, just on Thursday they hit Taganrog, right? So I started looking, and we go back a week from Thursday. And so 10 days after uh, Dnipro. And you look up there, there was an ATACMS strike against an oil depot. Remember that? Probably not, right? Why would you? It was just another oil depot. But actually, it wasn't just another oil depot, it was an oil transit station where the trains came in to refuel oil for the military. And then they followed a railroad track down to the front. Now, what also got blowed up that day were two trains that took that fuel to the front line. So now follow this with me. This second wave of ATACMS strikes hit a critical oil depot, military oil depot that supplied fuel to the front line and the transportation for that fuel. What was next? Ammunition dump. Actually, these are all ATACMS strikes. There was a French hammer strike this week, but I didn't include that because we were talking about U.S. weapons. But you could count that one too. Anyway, there's a town here just over the line from Mariupol inside of Russia where there was a large ammunition depot. This happened maybe 3 days after Bryansk got hit. And that ammunition depot cooked off for some time. That was a sizable chunk of ammunition. And then on Thursday, and this is what sparked the conversation, because even though the bots are saying that there have been no strikes with Western weapons inside of Russia since Oreshnik, the government is not denying it, and the state media is not denying it. It's just a troll talking point for the lowest information people in the world. That's what it is. Because on Thursday, Taganrog got hit. And there was I can't believe I missed this. But anyway, Taganrog got hit, and it was the air base at Taganrog that got hit. What's at the air base at Taganrog? The repair facility. That's where the Air Force, that's where that A-50 was that they were trying to get back into service. Because since the Ukrainians took out those two A-50s, they don't have any AWACS. The A-50 is the Russian AWAC, right? They don't have that high-level radar insight over the battlefield. Not without an AWAC in the air all the time. And they were trying to cobble together one because we saw it there, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. We knew it was there, and they were trying to cobble it together with the parts that they have from the that are in storage. And they hit the repair shop and the airbase. Now, what this means for flight traffic in there all depends on how much damage there is. Without that facility there, I don't know where else they go, but they're not sticking around here. This could significantly impact Russia's ability to fly sorties over Ukraine. And you know what? We're already seeing a drop in glide bomb usage, probably related to the fact that these ATACMS are doing exactly what everybody said they would do, right? You would drive the Russians to push the planes that fly the glide bombs. You push them back another 300 miles. Push them back another 300 miles, they can only fly half as many sorties. You right off the bat cut the number of glide bombs in half, while at the same time increasing the fuel requirements, right? Suddenly every sortie has twice the fuel requirements. It's a good move. It's a good move. Smart, very smart. And I can't believe I missed it for 3 days. So I just wanted to go over this because, of course, one of the reasons why the channel exists is to disambiguate Russian disinformation. The bots have their talking points. One of their talking points is that the whole world is shivering in fear over over something called the hazel tree. They're not good at naming things. Anyway, the whole world is shivering in fear over the Oreshnik, when the reality is Putin has been backed into a corner where he has to use nukes. That's all he's got left. And he knows he can't. So what does he do? He invents a magical weapon that makes nukes redundant. They're not important anymore because he can do as much damage with this conventional weapon as he can with a nuclear device. Once he builds them, they're $120 million a piece. They're expensive and they're complicated. Two things that Russia doesn't do well at all. Not at all. Now, look, I don't mean to minimize the threat. This weapon, if it were real, would be very damaging. It appears as though the Russians are scrambling to make it real. The way to keep that from happening is to tighten the screws, just like Ukraine is doing here, cutting off the fuel to the front line, cutting off the repair and support facilities, taking out the backup storage of ammunition, right? You can't fight without gasoline. You can't fight without air support, and you cannot fight without ammunition. Ukraine is clearly using the few ATACMS it has in what is likely the most strategic way for the maximum result. That's what it looks like to me. And all of this is after Oreshnik. That's the critical point here. Anyway, guys, normally this content is only available on Patreon. And so if you're watching it, you are likely a paid Patreon member. But I only publish on Patreon Monday through Friday unless something exciting happens or comes up like this. And on those occasions, I also post these videos to YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, you're getting 1/6, maybe probably quite a bit less, of the content that I publish on my Patreon every day. So maybe consider joining the Patreon. Thank you, folks. Christmas is coming. I would love to see some new Patreon supporters, please. Thanks, everybody.